Sacramento has a unique way that they honor Dr. King. It's called MLK 365, which suggests that you celebrate and acknowledge Dr. King every day, not simply on the anniversary of his birth. And while I certainly support all of our continuing education efforts and responsibility, I would argue that you don't have to travel to Memphis. You don't have to travel to his monument. You don't have to travel to the National African American Museum, although those are great places to visit. I've been to them all. You'll see the monument on the video we're about to show briefly. I would argue that you could stay right here in the great state of California, perhaps in some of your very own districts. Briefly, in a short time, I'll introduce you to a young man who's the curator at our very own California African American Museum, right in the great 30th District in Los Angeles. It's our own state facility that curates and has a responsibility to bring culture and information and knowledge to all of us about the history of African Americans across this country and specifically here in California. So we can do our own homework right here in our own state. Not only is this the 50th anniversary of that dark day in April when Dr. King was assassinated, it's also the 50th anniversary of the Poor People's Campaign. And I'm going to use this weekend as a launch as I join with the Los Angeles organizers of the 50th anniversary for the Poor People's Campaign to organize as Dr. King did from the streets, in the streets, to galvanize a broader, true big tent coalition of people who are fallen victim to this nation's policies that has decided to criminalize poor people. You know, my colleague from San Diego talked about feeling inspired when she attends the Dr. King events, and I have to say that for me, inspiration is hard to come by these days. And so as I thought about this weekend's activities, and I thought about what new I could pull from the history lessons and history books about Dr. King, I began to really think about why he was taken from us and what fuels our current debate and dialogue around race in this country. And I have concluded and fundamentally believe that he was assassinated because he was deemed a threat. Dr. King, if you've seen images and pictures of him, you know he wasn't a large man in stature. I don't think he cleared 6 feet. So he wasn't perceived as a physical threat. He was feared based on a far more deadly weapon that he possessed, and that was his intellectual capacity. How many of us would be perceived as a threat for our own intellectual capacity? And so I hope that as we commit ourselves, as we go into our districts this weekend and participate in marches and go to breakfasts, that we not misuse and abuse the words of Dr. King, that we not extrapolate a sentence or two from one speech that he gave throughout his very short lifetime of 39 years, but that we dig deep, that we hold ourselves, our colleagues, our elected officials at all levels of government accountable to the words they speak, that we have a higher level of expectation in terms of the intellectual capacity of the people we elect to lead this great nation. That's what I'm going to do the next several days in honor of Dr. King. And I would hope that not only will you support SCR 85, but that you will do the same.
Ayes 30, no 0. The resolution is adopted.